Next on CBS News 8 at 5, more big-time selling on Wall Street as the Dow nosedives more than 500 points before a late rally.
Heavy rains from El Nino are blamed for a big crack that's opened up along a bluff at Sunset Cliffs that could collapse at any time.
And the little pest that's threatening dozens of Torrey pine trees. CBS News 8 at 5 starts right now.
You're watching San Diego's breaking news leader. This is CBS News 8 at 5.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Carla Cicchetto.
And I'm Barbara Lee Edwards. It's been a rough start to 2016 for the U.S. financial markets, which are down more than 9% for the year.
And early today, it looked even more grim, with the Dow down more than 500 points before gaining back half. Jill Wagner has more on the volatile day on Wall Street.
Barbara Lee and Carlos, stocks staged a massive comeback in the final hour of trading today. The healthcare sector led the rebound. Some traders felt like stocks had fallen far enough and were now a bargain. Another day, another massive sell-off on Wall Street. At one point, the Dow sank more than 500 points.
This is the new normal.
Once again, falling oil prices are to blame. They're now trading at 12-year lows because supply is way up and global demand is down. It's great news at the gas pump. The national average is well below the $2 a gallon mark. But trader Stephen Guilfoyle says it's bad news for energy companies and the hundreds of thousands of Americans in places like North Dakota and Texas who work for them.
They're either losing their job or making less. Now, the place they buy their shoes isn't selling shoes. The place they buy their car isn't selling a car. The place they eat pizza isn't selling pizza.
Traders here in the U.S. are also worried about the economy in China, a huge market for American goods. China's main stock market, the Shanghai Composite, has dropped by more than 40% since last summer, and it's taking the world markets down with it.
You probably don't want to check your balances every night because it'll just put you in a bad mood.
Stocks are falling, and it's not clear where or when they'll bottom out. And as for the mood down here on Wall Street, some traders say they're not panicking, but they're not panicking. Make of that what you will. Barbara Lee and Carla.
Thanks. While the national average for the price of regular unleaded is under $2 a gallon, here in San Diego, the average price is still $2.87 a gallon. A warning light on board a Marine Corps helicopter forced the pilot to make a precautionary landing at Ramona Airport just after 1 this afternoon. 2 Marines, a pilot and a gunner flying out of Camp Pendleton, were on board the AH-1W Super Cobra at the time. There were no injuries or structural damage. The helicopter is stationed at MCAS Miramar.
The former operator of a Claremont daycare pleaded guilty today in the death of an 11-month-old boy. On the eve of his trial, 39-year-old James Namath pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter in the 2012 death of Louis Oliver. He admitted to shaking the toddler as well as hitting, choking, and punching 2 of his own children. Namath is expected to be sentenced next month to 29 years and 8 months in prison. The tasting room at AleSmith Brewery in Miramar is closed tonight after a broken pipe forced crews to shut off water to the facility. A large truck was driving out of the parking lot when its back wheels clipped the pipe, breaking it open. The water flooded part of the lot before crews could turn it off. Work is underway to fix the pipe. The brewery expects to be back open for business tomorrow.
Geologists and lifeguards are keeping a close eye on a bluff at Sunset Cliffs that is in danger of collapsing.
A large crack appeared after our recent El Nino storms, and now a barrier is up to keep people away. CBS News 8's Kelly Hessedal is live at Sunset Cliffs tonight with the dangers this fracture is presenting. Kelly?
Well, Barbara Lee and Carlo, that large fracture is located down the trail here behind me. It is 5 feet wide and 250 feet long. Lifeguards tonight are warning folks to stay away from that area. They're also warning people to be careful down below. From Chopper 8, you can get a better picture of the fractured bluff on the south end of Sunset Cliffs Park. A large crack that's now surrounded by yellow caution tape, warning folks to stay back.
It's pretty sketchy coming down here, and you definitely have to be careful, especially with all the rain, El Nino season. You never know what can happen.
Heavy rainfall and high surf, factors that have contributed to weakening the cliff stability.
The base of the cliff is weakened, and now the top's going to fall forward and catch up with the base.
And that means folks down below need to be careful too.
It's dangerous looking for sure. And the tide has been crazy, high tide. The waves have been really big, and all the rain has definitely been causing it to erode a lot faster.
And from down below, you can see there are no signs warning folks about that unstable area of the cliffs. This is one of the main trails that surfers use to get to the water.
I had no idea it was there, though, so this is the first time hearing about it.
Even just walking along the beach down here, I've seen just little parts of the cliff chip off. So, yeah, I've seen some people get a little too close.
Dr. Pat Abbott, a geology professor at SDSU, says at some of the more popular tourist spots at Sunset Cliffs, the rock is made of sandstone, a harder material. But here,
A lot of these rocks here are made of clay minerals. They're things when they get wet, lose strength. So we have the added problem here of weaker rocks to begin with.
he urges folks to just use common sense.
So when you look there and you see this huge fracture running parallel to the cliff face, that tells you something. That tells you that piece of cliff is pulling away. Stay back, don't get near.
Don't be stupid, don't climb on things. You know it's soft, you know it's easy to break apart. Don't take that dangerous picture of me hanging off the cliff. Don't do it, just don't do it, be smart.
And that's a good warning in general for this area. It is beautiful, enjoy it, but certainly be aware of your surroundings. Now, coming up new at 6:30 tonight, lifeguards say they have noticed some even larger fractures at other beaches. We will talk about that all new at 6:30. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Kelly, thanks. Lifeguards say there was a cliff collapse on South Boomer Beach right around New Year's Day. Fortunately, no one was hurt in that incident.
Investigators say a man found dead inside a luxury car in the East County likely had a medical emergency. The body was discovered around 8 this morning in a Maserati near Mountain View Road in Crest. CBS News 8's Dominic Garcia is there live with what we know tonight. Dom?
Well, and Carla, that car was found not too far behind me in this area that leads to 3 different driveways. Now, at first they thought maybe it had crashed, but as you mentioned, turns out they think it was caused by a medical emergency.
It was just out of place. I didn't know what else to think.
Rodney Peters wasn't sure what to think when he saw a Maserati parked right in front of his home Tuesday night.
On my way home, I had noticed the car that was parked in the driveway coming down my hill, and lights were on, the car was running and everything. I noticed it was the white Maserati. And me and my buddy, we had thought it was weird. I didn't think neighbors had that kind of vehicle.
So Rodney went to bed, thinking someone had just pulled over to make a call.
In the morning, I woke up about 7, and I saw one officer had, come to the scene, and the car door was open. It didn't look like there was any damage to the car or anything from a wreck. I possibly think that he had pulled over and then something, medically might have happened to him as well.
And it appears that's what may have happened. The owner of the car says a friend was driving it. He didn't release his name, but says he's from out of town and has a history of medical issues. As for the car, authorities say there was only some minor scratches on it and it may have rubbed up against a fence. Besides that, no indication there was a crash.
I didn't see any broke fence. I didn't see any broken gates or anything like that. And just wanted to kind of clear up, what I saw. And I lived right there, so that was my house that it was in front of.
Rodney isn't quite sure what to make of it. He just hopes the best for the driver's family.
Yeah, it was bizarre, and I just kind of wanted to know what was going on in my head. It was at the end of my driveway, and it's not every day that, a nice car like that and such a bad situation happens. But, I hope the best for his family and everything.
So again, that witness says he first spotted this car late last night. Another says he heard a loud noise around the same time. You're going to hear from him coming up at 6:30. Back to you.
All right, Dom, thanks. 3 Navy ships left San Diego this morning to start a 7-month deployment.
The cruiser USS Mobile Bay and the destroyers Stockdale and William P. Lawrence will join the aircraft carrier John C. Stennis in the Pacific. The vessels are part of a strike group dubbed the Great Green Fleet. They're the first to be powered by a biofuel mix that includes beef fat provided by farmers in the Midwest.
Improving energy efficiency gives us a force protection advantage, taking convoys off the road and reducing the time our ships are with oilers at sea.
The fuels were purchased through a partnership between the Navy and the Department of Agriculture. More than 1,300 people became U.S. citizens during a ceremony at Golden Hall today.
The new citizens originate from 96 countries. That includes South Africa. The Potter family immigrated from there 7 years ago. At today's ceremony, they talked about what becoming U.S. citizens means to them.
the right to travel globally without having to get visas all the time, and the freedom, really the freedom and trust. Safety, opportunity, fun.
After taking the oath of allegiance, the crowd watched a video message from President Obama talking about the rights and responsibilities of citizenship. Let's check on our traffic now. Deb Henke is live in Shop Parade over the 125 at the 94. Hi, Deb.
Hi, Barbara Lee, and we're looking at the final clearing of a SIG alert. This was put into effect just before 3 o'clock today. You can see the street sweeper there toward the top left, and they're getting things cleaned up after a semi-truck had a fuel leak, and we understand leaking quite a bit of diesel fuel, and so they had to shut down the North 125 on-ramp from Campo Road. That's what you're looking at there, and they do still have it closed, and that, again, was before 3 o'clock all this happened. And look at the backup it's created on the 125 and then on the 94. The 94, in fact, is slow going from the 5 coming out of downtown all the way out here to the East County. Pretty unusual, but again, looks like they're in the final clearing. They just towed the semi in question out of the way a short time ago. We'll move to our traffic maps. We're hearing about an injury crash on the 52, the westbound side at the 15. We're going to head that direction next. Also a traffic advisory westbound 8 at El Cajon. They're fixing some potholes, some emergency pothole repairs. And then the north 15, very slow. An earlier crash at the 56, and we see a backup from Friars Road heading north on the 15. Barbara Lee and Carlo?
Thanks, Deb. The latest from the presidential campaign trail when CBS News 8 at 5 returns.
And as tax time draws near, what you should know before filing.
Around the world, 2015 was the hottest year on record. What does that tell scientists about the future? I'm Weijia Jiang in Greenbelt, Maryland, with that story coming up.
And we just had a pretty nice sunset here, and the sun reflecting off those clouds even at this moment. We'll be seeing more of that sunshine as we head through the rest of the week. Your 8-day microclimate forecast is next.